I mean, just date other people. So this is a fun one for me because I have actually never seen the original Crow. Years I've been wanting to watch it, never got a chance to do it, and with this reboot coming out, I was thinking, you know what, I'm gonna give this movie a fair shake, not watch the original, so that way I'm not constantly comparing the two when I finally see this. So this video isn't really about the movie being a respect to Brandon Lee's legacy or anything like that. That's not really what this is about. It's just more on what I thought of the movie as it is on its own. And that being said, does this movie justify its existence as its own movie? Ugh. So the thing about The Crow is, I think in concept, it sounds really interesting. I love the idea of this gothic revenge story, this idea that this dude was in love, he lost that love, and now he is coming back from the dead in seek of vengeance. It's a very simplistic idea that this movie really overcomplicates in a lot of ways. And that comes from the fact that I think this movie tries to juggle a bunch at once. What it really wants to do, and I appreciate the effort it's going for, is that it wants to connect you with the characters before they fall in love this time. And I appreciate that effort. I do like that this movie wants to develop the two characters and slowly bring them together as the movie progresses. It wants to see you watch them fall in love. It wants you to watch them come together. The characters need to be interesting, and I didn't find them very compelling in that regard because I don't think this movie really knows what love or intimacy is. And that's the thing, is this movie presents this idea that they're so in love, but I never felt like the movie was doing a great job of making me believe that and making me root for them. As it stands, it kind of comes across like that toxic couple. The type of people, they're that toxic couple that they'll die for each other, they'll do anything, they're broken without each other. And the whole time I'm sitting there because the movie just, it wants to present itself like they're the most romantic thing ever. Yet, in the film, it feels like they looked at each other for a second and then they were instantly in love. The movie didn't really do the work to make them earn that. So, a lot of this movie is struggling with making the characters feel well developed in that regard. And this movie juggles a lot too. There's a lot going on in this setup. It starts off with an opening sequence that's supposed to be a sequence with the main character as a kid, then it goes into the world building of everything while it's also trying to establish the afterlife, how our main character can come back, on top of developing their romance. I don't know the structure of the original Crow film. Again, I haven't seen it. Keeping that in mind though, I'm wondering if this movie could have benefited from just putting Bill Skarsgård in the situation already. Taking place in a point when he's already looking for revenge, and then maybe developing the romance through flashbacks, something else, so we can get a sense of this urgency for revenge, but also the idea of the romance at the same time. It feels like the movie and all of the plot lines regarding the afterlife, regarding the love story, regarding that, all try to fight for screen time, so none of it really gets to fully develop into what it could be. Take for the antagonistic presence, this movie where Bill Skarsgård's character is going after everyone, he wants revenge, so I feel like this movie could have used a villain personality, an antagonistic person, to really make us root for defeating them, making us root for that revenge angle. Danny Houston plays the villain, and I don't think this is the intent, but the entire time I'm watching it, I couldn't get X-Men Origins Wolverine out of my head, because that's the vibe he gave off. So I got some of that early 2000s cheese I do appreciate in a movie. So I did have fun there. I don't think it's what the movie was going for, but hey, I'm taking what I can get. And this movie is very repetitive in how it's presenting its information, and I think that's what really tanks the pacing as well, is that this movie moves in a sense that it feels like you're just seeing the same events and scenes play out. The whole love story angle, it's just them banging, they long for each other, they bang, they long for each other, and there's nothing really else. You don't get a sense of their home life. I never got a vibe of what made them tick as people and why they would be a good fit for each other, other than the movie saying, yeah, they're attracted to each other. And they party a lot. Substance abuse and partying. Call me cynical, call me what you will, but substance abuse and lust is just, that's a ticking time bomb. That's all it really is. There's nothing that special there. So I'm not really rooting for their love, so to speak. It comes across like a one-week fling that if the characters just didn't see each other after that, everything would have been fine. They weren't good for each other, and the movie wants to make you feel like they are. So it's kind of frustrating. Instead of this love and want for revenge to get back the person this man loved, it feels like he went on a one-week fling, then sold his soul. It would help if the action and all of that stuff was a little more exciting, compelling, but again, when you're lacking that villain personality, a lot of the time, the people that Bill Skarsgård's taking out in this movie, they end up just being faceless bad guys. Take an example, ironically, a movie with Bill Skarsgård in it, John Wick Chapter 4. John Wick Chapter 4, yes, there's a lot of faceless guys that John Wick's taking out throughout the movie, but what keeps you compelled, what keeps you intrigued is the fact that John Wick is trying to get to that villain, that antagonistic character, where his personality is just so scummy that you can't wait to see John Wick get to him, so it makes climbing through these bad guys worth it. It doesn't hurt the pacing, it works with it to make you intrigued by the movie. As to where The Crow, it kind of feels like, okay, we have a R rating. That's enough. Let's just have him kill a bunch of guys and make it as brutal as we can. And that's something I don't like about this movie, and just kind of what bothers me is that I don't want studios to learn the wrong lessons when it comes to R ratings. I think with an R rating, yeah, that's fun. It makes it a little more mature, but what makes a R-rated movie more successful is the fact that there's characters backing it up. There's lore, there's intrigue, there's things making us root for the characters who are in the violence rather than just rooting for the violence. I felt like The Crow thought the violence was enough and lacked the intrigue that it could have used to make us really into it, to really care. Which is a shame because I love the gothic vibes here. There's a lot of potential. There's actually some great cinematography in this movie. There's some great shots, and I appreciate the visual language of it. There's some great visual storytelling, but I feel like that's all there really is. So like you have these amazing scenes where these two characters are coming together, but the writing behind it doesn't support how beautiful the shot is. And it just gets annoying. And like I said, being a sucker for that, I'm watching this movie and I'm just thinking to myself, man, conceptually, I like everything on paper here if it was just in a better movie. But the problem with this is that that movie probably exists. The original Crow is out there. I could go watch that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to. So why make this reboot in that case? Why not just make this an original story? It kind of comes across like it's a revenge story that they decided to make a take on The Crow halfway through. Not saying that's all what happened, that's just how the movie comes across when you're watching it. On top of the fact that you're dealing with Brandon Lee's legacy, does this movie justify its own existence in that regard? I don't think so. I didn't love The Crow. I hope it finds a following, I hope it has fans. I don't know what people are gonna think about this movie. It's probably not gotten the best word, I don't know. Did you like it? I hope you enjoy it. What do you think of the original Crow? How does it stack up compared to this reboot? I'm excited to check out The Crow though, because I am going to watch that original now. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I've kind of been intermittently off and on. I'm trying to be more consistent here and just getting that energy back up. I've been just life, shit, all that. With that being said, please leave a like. Watch our last video on Deadpool and Wolverine. We had so much fun talking about that. Alien Romulus video coming to you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, talk about movies with us, be our friends, yada yada yada. See you next time. Goodbye.